Okay, I wanted to talk today about the first pistol that I ever bought myself. Uh, First, I want to thank my wife for videoing this. She told me she was busy vacuuming, but she's doing it anyway. Thank you very much. I bought this gun in 1978 when I turned 21. That was the day I turned 21, August 25th, 1978. And I picked this gun up. This is a Ruger Security 6. It's a 357 Magnum, and of course the 357 Magnum can shoot 38 Special. The 38 Special cartridge was invented in 1898 by Smith & Wesson, and it was basically based on the 38, what is this? Go away. 38 Long Colt cartridge. Basically, it was close to the 38 Long Colt, except that it used smokeless powder instead of black powder. Well, by the 1920s, the 38 Smith & Wesson, or 38 Special, the 38 Special, not the 38 Smith & Wesson, the 38 Special cartridge had become the favorite of law enforcement, the police in this country, in the United States. And the problem was that in the 1920s, we had problems with these criminals that were referred to as, what do they call them? Gangsters. And these gangsters, they all came about because of the Volstead Act. Now, for you young people, the Volstead Act is also known as the... Could you get rid of that damn bird, Miriam? The Volstead Act was known as prohibition to you guys out there. It was one of the stupidest laws we ever passed. Excuse me, it wasn't even a law. It was actually an amendment to the Constitution. And it took until, I think, 1933 before we finally repealed that stupid law. And all that prohibition ever did was increase, was to allow criminals to organize in the United States and become more powerful than they ever have before. So in the 20s, most policemen were armed with revolvers in 38 Special. And they were getting outgunned by these gangsters because they were running around with BARs and Thompsons, and they were driving by in cars. And the 38 Special just wasn't powerful enough to go through these car doors. Well, the first gun company that came up with a pistol round that was powerful enough to go through the car doors and kill these guys was Colt, and they came out with their 38 Super. But back then, most police, they didn't like semi-automatic pistols. They were more into revolvers. So Smith & Wesson came up with the 357 Magnum, along with a guy named Elmer Keith, who was also known to be the father of the 44 Magnum and the 41 Magnum. He was also behind the 357 Magnum. So the 357 Magnum was basically just a lengthened 38 Special. They lengthened the case so that they wanted to make sure that the 357 Magnum round would not fit in the chamber of a revolver that was chambered in 38 Special, because you'd blow it up because it's a much more powerful round. So that's when they came up with the 357 Magnum, 1934, to go after these crooks. And actually the 38 Special and 357 Magnum, they became the most popular round for police up and through the 70s. I think it wasn't until the 80s or early 90s when the police really got into the semi-automatic guns. But in 1972, Ruger wanted to get into the service pistol market, and they came up with this gun, the Security 6. They actually had different versions of it. They had the Security 6 and the Service 6. But this is the Security 6. It had one of them, I remember, had fixed sights. I think that might have been the Service 6. But this is the Security 6. It has adjustable sights on it. The thing that makes this different than the Smith & Wessons and the Colts at the time is that this pistol has a solid frame. The Smith & Wessons and Colts at the time, they had a side plate that was screwed on with screws. You had to unscrew the side plate to get at the action in the gun. The action of a revolver is also known as lockwork. This particular gun, the lockwork actually comes out through here. This trigger housing, you press a plunger in and this whole trigger housing pops out and all the lock work except for the hammer and mainspring is in the trigger housing, and that makes for a solid frame that makes it very strong. This is actually a pretty strong revolver for its time, and it's just your basic revolver. You have your latch here to open up the cylinder. You have your ejector to eject the cartridges after you fire them. You can actually buy what they call speed loaders that would load 6 cartridges. You drop them in there and twist it, and they drop right into the cylinder. So you can actually reload this gun fairly quick. If it takes a little training, but you definitely can. I've had a lot of fun with this gun through the years. Since from the time I was 21, I just turned 64 yesterday. And I still love shooting this gun. I would have showed you some cartridges for it, but I shot them all up the last time I went to the range. I shot every freaking round I had. I usually load these with hard cast lead bullets, that Keith style semi-wad cutters. And I've shot this gun at ranges up to 300 yards, just like I have my 44 Magnums. There's nothing like a 357 Magnum cartridge. It's just a great cartridge. You could use this to actually go small game hunting as well. This is the 6-inch barrel pistol. This is a double action pistol, so it's both single and double. The nice thing about this is it's easy to drop out this trigger housing, and you could polish up all of the lock work in this gun. So this is a very smooth trigger on this gun. Even the double action trigger is very smooth. The single action trigger is just excellent on this gun. That's why I really like Ruger pistols. Well, like I said, Ruger, they came out with this is to get into the service pistol market, but then by the time the 80s came around, the police started buying semi-automatic pistols, and they just sort of took over. The police, they just like 9mm or 40 Smith & Wesson, and they like the fact they got 15 or more rounds. So that's it for this video, and I wanted to thank my wife for taking this video. She's yelling at me now because we're running out of power on the thing. All right, thank you very much.